The brain of a personal computer is a microprocessor, or a CPU, central processing unit. The microprocessor performs the calculations and data processing, and as a rule is the most expensive chip of an entire computer. In all PC-compatible computers, processors that support the Intel family chips are used. However, they are manufactured and designed not only by the Intel itself, but by other companies also such as AMD, Cyrix, IDT and Rise Technologies. One of the main parameters of a CPU is the performance. The computer performance, to a large extent, depends on the clock rate, which in modern processors is measured in gigahertz. The clock rate is determined by three parameters on the quartz resonator, which is a crystal of quartz enclosed in a small tin container. Under the influence of electric voltage in the quartz crystal, electric current oscillations generated with a frequency determined by the shape and the size of the crystal. The frequency of the alternating current is called the clock rate. The microcircuits of a modern computer operate at a frequency of several billion hertz. Hertz is one oscillation per second. Performance is usually measured in gigahertz, in billions of cycles per second. The smallest unit of time, a quantum, for a processor as a logic unit is the period of clock rate, or simply cycle. At least one clock cycle is spent on each operation. For example, Pentium II CPU performed the exchange of data with its memory for 3 cycles plus a few cycles of expectation. Cycle of expectation is a cycle in which nothing happens. It is necessary just to ensure that the processor doesn't outrun less quick operating units of the computer. The time required to execute commands are also different. 8086 and 8088. These processors to perform one command use about 12 cycles. Pentium series K6. The architecture of Pentium and other Intel-compatible processors of the 5th generation, created in AMD and Cyrix, that includes a dual instruction pipeline and other improvements, ensure the implementation of 1 or 2 commands per 1 clock cycle. Pentium Pro, Pentium II, 3, Celeron and Athlon processors of the P6 class, as well as other 6th generation processors created by AMD and Cyrix, can execute at least 3 commands per single cycle. Different number of cycles required to execute commands makes it difficult to compare the performance of computers, relying only on their clock rate. Why at the same clock speed one processor is faster than another? The reason lies in performance. Pentium had a higher performance as compared with the 486 because he needed on average 2 times less cycles than the 486 to perform one command. Thus, the 486 processor with a clock rate of 133 MHz worked even slower than a Pentium with a clock frequency of 75 MHz. This happened because at the same clock rate, Pentium performed twice as many commands as the 486 CPU. Pentium and Pentium III are approximately 50% faster than Pentium, operating at the same clock rate because they can carry out considerably more commands within the same number of cycles.